the stories to your homes. From K.L.P Studios in Atlanta, this is LTN News. From LTN News, live from the newsroom, this is One Off with Kennedy Lucas.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. No need to adjust your screens here tonight. Yes, you see me in the flash, Kennedy Lucas. Welcome to a new segment that we like to introduce for the Lucas Tribune, the LTN Network, and LTN News, One Off with K.L.P. Now, typically, I like to be in the studio setting or the podcasting setup when I get ready to do my podcast show. But as you guys know, here at K.L.P Entertainment, we do like to innovate when it comes down to our production shows. And this is something that I'm very, very excited about, because to be in the newsroom and to give you guys just a deep dive into any topic that we've got going on for social media, I like to innovate and change things up, as you guys know. So I like to introduce One Off with K.L.P. Now, a little bit about this show is a show that we talk about one topic, one big topic, and then I like to analyze and give you guys my broadcasting journalism when it comes down to performing and doing our shows. And that's what we do here in the newsroom. This newsroom studio setup, you guys see it when we get ready to do the Lucas Tribune Flash News, and it's no different. I will be premiering as part of the LTN Network and LTN News. That is the Lucas Tribune News Network. Very, very, very excited for this segment. We hope that you guys like the segment that we've got for K.L.P Entertainment. Again, this is just something that I just really love doing, and to get to the studio set with the producers and get to wear a coat, that's really, really nice indeed. Now, we won't waste any time on One Off with K.L.P. Let me get one off on you guys real quick. Of course, we are talking about the Nintendo Direct, the Nintendo Switch announcement. Typically, when it comes down to with the show, we're going to make sure that we have a big story to tell on One Off with K.L.P. This is not going to be something that I come on here and get things set up just to talk about a small news that could be on the podcast. This is huge. This is a huge topic of conversation. A lot of broadcasters, podcasters, and even YouTubers, they have been talking about the Nintendo Switch Direct video press conference that happened this morning. So, of course, it was very fitting that we talk about it here on One Off with K.L.P. Now, I wanted to, because I did say to our producers that we were going to do a live reaction and to do it right then and there, but we didn't really want to be the typical reaction doing it live, and then I wanted to give you guys a great spin on my reactions and what I thought of the Direct. I didn't want to do a live stream and then to act surprised and to just kind of be kind of nice about it. I like to go in. I like to be harsh when it comes down to these reviews. A lot of YouTubers decided to watch the full thing, write notes, analyze, and then when they got ready, then they were able to give their video. So we're just like all the other YouTuber videos that's probably been out today, where people give their reviews and their reactions. I saw a lot of YouTubers who gave their reaction, a lot of broadcasters, they gave their reaction, and I want to say off the bat here on One Off with K.L.P, I want to say that this Nintendo Direct, I have to say that I have to give it a solid 6 out of 10. The reason being is because I felt that we didn't get a whole lot of Nintendo type games. Now, I'm going to go ahead and just play it here for my viewing purposes. Now, the show itself looked amazing. Highly anticipated show. Everybody tuned in. At the beginning of this thing, Nintendo had it to where they had about over 1 million views starting off the bat, because this was the highest thing that everybody's been talking about. Within the Nintendo Direct, of course, we've got this new concept of the Mario Kart game to introduce for Nintendo Switch 2. This is called Mario Kart World. It looks amazing. It's one of those games that it really. Let me tell you about it. Now, they have it to where Mario looks a little different. I can tell that this Mario Kart game is a little bit more faster, more grittier, a lot of fun. Some of the same items that you'll get into the Mario Kart. They had it to where Donkey Kong looks good. I'm not watching the video. Donkey Kong has a new design. We'll talk about Donkey Kong at the end of the segment here. Donkey Kong got this new design, and it's as if it was open world. They went for this open world concept to where you're racing around the different worlds, the different platforms when it comes down to kart racing. They got this new, what looked like a grind rail where you're able to do Papa Willie or Papa Willie on the side on the grind rails on the ends to get more speed. Drifting is also available when it came down to it. They had this thing where you guys saw in the video, they had what looked like a wall jump. Well, in your typical game is a wall jump. But then you're going from side to side as a wall jump while racing here. You got into a truck and you're able to use a truck to speed up. There's an item, what looks like where you get to change your outfit, whatever you're wearing. They showed it in plenty of footage with Princess Peach and all the other characters where they're changing the outfits all around. This game is going to be highly anticipated, so let me tell you why. Because, as we're skipping through here, you're getting to go through from track to track where it's one long race. And you look at the hub, you look at the map, the tracks look gigantic, y'all. It looks gigantic. You can drive vertically everywhere in the Grand Prix. You're starting from one race to another race, to another race, to another race, all in 4 races. You don't have to stop. And there's not really a load time. You don't have to wait and go magically pop into a next course. You get to leave one circuit and you're going to another circuit. That's our anticipation. That's what we saw. Very, very exciting to see that happen. I think that was very innovative. They have this thing called the Knockout Tour where it's kind of like the Grand Prix, but if you don't reach a number of stats in placing, if you're not in the top 5 places, you will knock out. You get struck out. You'll be able to not be part of the cup anymore because you have such a low scoring. That part reminds me. It reminds me of the Super Mario Kart for Super Nintendo. So when I was a kid, I tell you, when I was a kid, my brother had Super Mario Kart for Super Nintendo, and that was kind of the thing where it was almost like lives. If you had it to where you have your lives, and if you're not placing in a good place or a good score, then you get to not be in the cup anymore. You lose, right? If you didn't have that certain placement. So that's what kind of reminds me of this knockout tour is, you got to reach a certain amount of placing. Let's say if you're in 11th place, you have to be 8th or better to continue on to the court, into the course and into the tour. Very, very fantastic when it comes down to the knockout tour. I think this Mario Kart is going to be highly anticipated. It's going to be really, really good. It looked very good. It looks fast paced, your typical Mario Kart game, but with a little bit more. I think my favorite part on this series too is free roam. I think a lot of video games, they're dabbling more into the open world concept. I love that in a Mario Kart game because it's different. I don't think we ever seen that before. I think it's a great idea to have it to where you can free roam throughout these courses everywhere. You can go through the grass, you can go through the mud, you can go through stone, you can go through pretty much anywhere in the track, and you get to have fun doing it. I think that will be very, very impactful for Mario Kart because now they're dabbling into this open world concept, and it works. Really, really works when it comes down to it. This game, Mario Kart World, is fantastic looking. It is very, very great. You can go through water again. You can go through the grass. You can go through the dooms of sand. You can go pretty much everywhere. You can take pictures with your friends if you're playing with your friends online or via the chat. We'll talk about the chat room too. Very, very cool. Highly anticipated. Mario Kart game. Of course, April 17th is where we're going to have more news from Mario Kart World. Like I say, they did it again with this one, and I'm very excited for this Mario Kart because this game will be available when Switch 2 gets released out there when it comes down to it. Again, they have more features for the chat room. So we all notice about the C button. When it came down to the C button, we know about the C button now. It was when we first saw the trailer, we saw the C button, but they didn't have the C on it. It was blacked out, right? We didn't know what that was. Now we get it to where it is a chat button. Really, really cool because I have quite a few friends who have Switches. I have my brother, for reference, my brother plays Mario Kart with their friends, but they have to kind of get on FaceTime to kind of communicate and have a good time and do it. Nintendo has found a way that you can chat with your friends online using Switch 2 using the chat button, because we all know the Switch 2 has the microphone. And when the Switch 2 has that microphone on top of the Switch, we knew there was some sort of communication there. We know that was going to be some sort of microphone to where you can chat with friends via their own Switches. But now they made it to where you can have it to where you have the chat button. You're playing, let's say you're playing Mario Kart World and you're chatting with your friends. Right, you're chatting with your friends and having a good time playing together on this game, and it's called Game Chat. It was very, very cool when we saw it. I think this is going to be a very good niche for Nintendo. I think a lot of people are going to benefit this because I've had it to where if I'm playing a game, sometimes if we don't have headsets through the controller, we have to kind of FaceTime each other while we're playing and having a great time. Nintendo solved that problem to where you don't need your FaceTime phone if you got Apple. You don't need your FaceTime. You've got the microphone, and when you are playing, if you docked your system, the microphone picks you up at a great distance. Even if you've got somebody in the background in your own space making a bunch of noise, the microphone can still pick up what you're saying to your friends. So very, very dope concept. I really love how the way Nintendo integrated this. And in comparison, in some of the trailers, the Switch 2 does look kind of giant in a good way. Like it looks very beefy, and I think it kind of works. You can also see it to where you can screen record it, and you can adjust your screening, right? You could just have just their icon and speaking to, or you can see what your friends are playing. You can see where the path they're on is just really, really, it's kind of like a multiple screen to where you can see your screen that you're playing on, and then you can see your friends' screen is there. Another exciting thing with the Switch 2, with Game Chat, you can see what other people are playing. Let's say if you're playing Mario Kart World and you have a friend that's playing Mario Brothers Wonder, you have another friend that's playing Animal Crossing, you have another friend that's playing Metroid, for an example, right? You can see what your friends are playing while you're playing a game. So you could still chat with your friends and hang out with your friends via game chat, and you don't necessarily have to play the same game. Really, really awesome, Nintendo. I think you've got something when it comes down to community engagement. I think that's going to be the winner, right? Where you have friends who are far away from each other. They can't necessarily come over to play a game locally. They can play a game online and still chat with their friends and have a great time. Very, very awesome concept when it comes down to it. And there's more to it, y'all, to this game chat. What Nintendo has invited is the Nintendo Switch 2 camera. So now, here's the kicker. Now Nintendo has it to where there's a camera that hooks up to the Switch, so that way you guys can, well, we all can see our friends on our game systems, right? You can see you can see their reactions because they're on camera. You can see the game that they're playing, and they can have a great time. Really, really awesome concept. I really love this concept for the community engagement. Like I said, I have quite a few friends we all have Switches today, and I cannot wait to see me and my buddies playing Mario Kart 9 together and having a great time and seeing each other if we don't live, because typically with my friends, we're all here in Georgia, but obviously we all don't live in the same area. So it's hard to get friends together to play locally when it comes down to it. Because again, we are adults and we are adulting. Life has adulted us. We have jobs, responsibilities outside of our gaming community. So if you're not able to play locally, you're gonna have a great time playing separately but together online. I think Nintendo has defined online gaming when it comes down to it, and I hope that a lot of other gaming companies and other game systems, they understand this. Now you will need, and this is a great kicker, I get it, because they have to make their money back on this thing. To use game chat, you do have to have a Nintendo online membership to occupy game chat. I think a lot of people were very sad about this concept because when you have a membership, obviously you're paying a membership, so it's not free. But from a business standpoint, I got to say that I agree. I agree with the concept of it not being free because Nintendo has to make some sort of kickback when it comes down to this, because you got to think about it when you are FaceTiming somebody, for an example. Because it's technically almost what this is. It's as if you're FaceTiming somebody. When you FaceTime somebody on our phones, right? Our phones, we're paying a phone bill, right? So you got to understand that concept that, using the camera and connecting with each other via internet and chatting with each other, there's a server part that's going to cost Nintendo. So I get it. I understand it. Why is this thing, this game chat has to come with the subscription? I think with the Nintendo Switch online membership, it doesn't cost that much to make up that membership. So I think it's worth it. I think it's worth it if you have friends who love video games like I do, and we don't it's hard for us to get together. I think it's worth it in the end. So I get it. They do offer this thing here. Game Chat Open Access period will end March 31st of next year, 2026. So you do got a year, technically almost a year. You got a year to test this thing out and to see how you love it. But I think this is kind of they're in the testing period. So when Switch 2 comes out, and by the way, Switch 2 does come out June 5th. I think pre-orders start at April 9th, and the console comes out at June 5th. So we're getting a whole free period on Game Chat for a year. I think this is going to define a lot of people to use Game Chat, and there's going to be a lot of people using Game Chat, and then Nintendo, after this year period is up, they realize, okay, a lot of people use it now, we can start charging people for it, right? It's business. I'm thinking on the business level, guys. When it comes down to having something like this, they're going to let us use it for a year. And they're going to realize millions upon millions of people are going to use Game Chat. And when they use Game Chat, they're going to say, okay, since everybody is willing to use this for free, now we can charge you within their membership to keep Nintendo balance sheets going and the money keep going. It's business. You guys got to think about it from a business concept. Of course, they're also integrating parental controls when it comes down to younger kids playing this with their friends, and you have to kind of be careful with parental guidance and parental controls when it comes down to gaming. Very, very dope. They started the whole Nintendo Direct with Mario Kart World and more of the Switch, of course. They've showed us the specs of the system where you can get up to 4K if you have a 4K TV. You can get up to 1080p resolution on the system. Smoother gameplay is now up to 120 frames per second. That's crazy. That is really, really good. If you got 120 frames per second, typically, and I've said this on many shows, but I prefer my games to be at 60 frames per second. Any new type of generation game that you want to have it to where you have it 60 frames per second. That's just kind of the way I prefer my gameplay. But for the Switch to have 120 frames per second, that's really, really good. That's next level. That's next generation when it comes down to it. You have HDR, high dynamic range if you have HDR type TVs. I think a lot of people have those in their TVs today, so it's very, very accessible. The Joy-Cons, they're labeling it the Joy-Con 2s, and they're magnetic, right? And they have a strong magnet where it doesn't rip off the system. It doesn't accidentally come off the system unless you press the release button. So that's really, really awesome to say. It's not really much of a slider, because sometimes if you don't know what you're doing, because I've had it to one time where I struggled with my Switch OLED where it's the slide and it's hard to kind of unslide it off, and I have to kind of be careful. The SL and SR buttons are bigger, which is great. I'll say this: if you got fat fingers like I do, this really comes in handy. With the original Switch, they got the buttons are about this weedy size, and now they're making it more accessible for fingers who are a little bit more bulkier, like mine. So it's very, very good concept. So they go into the specs. Mouse control, we all knew it. I tell you, boy, howdy, we knew it. I knew it was coming. I knew that it was going to be something that we were going to get. We also got the Joy-Cons to become mouse control when it comes down to this to the system. I think this is a very, very cool concept for Nintendo, because you've got to believe it. That PC gamers are going to love this feature. Now, I not so much as a PC gamer. I mean, I'm a console gamer than I am a PC person. But let me tell you why this works. Because there's a lot of PC gamers that love Nintendo games, but they're so used to the click mouse type of concept within their gaming. I think a lot of esports love it, to where they're able to use a keyboard and mouse to play their games. Again, I've never done that concept before, because I get confused. I like a nice controller, in my opinion, but this is why Nintendo is winning when it comes down to this part, because there's a lot of PC gamers that now they're going to dabble onto the Nintendo gaming world, because now they can play a lot of games as if they're playing it on their desktop. So great concept within all of it. Of course, they have spatial audio within the system, 3D audio. Whether if you don't have 3D audio type headphones, the system can still perform spatial 3D audio when it comes down to it. Very, very important for gaming. Let me tell you, when I play my PlayStation 5, I love the 3D audio, to where I can hear sounds all around me. I think that becomes more dynamic when it comes down to gameplay. When it comes down to gameplay, I really do understand and like the concept of USB. They have two USB ports, one for charging at the bottom and one for charging at the top. You can charge at the top if you still want to play your game, but your Switch is dying. Which makes sense, because at the top of the Switch, where the USB port is, they have to have one for the Switch 2 camera. So it was very, very fitting that they have two consoles, or two USB ports on top of there. Larger, faster storage. The original had 32 gigs. This Switch has 256 gigabytes. That's the same size as my phone. I am glad to see that. I'm very, very happy that the system comes with a 250 gigabyte. That is times 8 games in your arsenal. That is something. When the Switch 1 first came out, that was the main concept. The main thing that everybody had problems with was not having enough storage. But I am very, very happy that this Switch 2 has 256 gigabytes of storage, 8 times more games into your arsenal. Very, very awesome to see that as well. They have a fan ventilation cooling system on the docket. Really, really cool for gaming cooling. So that way the system cools itself and better performance. It is true, when your devices are cooled at the right temperature, then you're not burning your system and the performance works better. Love that. Love to see that within the games when it comes down to it. They did have it to where they had a tech demo where one person did it's called the Nintendo's virtual meet. And it's a game, but you can create your character and you can walk on the Switch and do kind of a tour of your Switch. Nice little neat project there. They're marking it to where it's not free. I think a game like that should have come free. I don't think that would be something that I will pick up just to see just to tour the Switch and see all the nooks and crannies of the Switch. That should be free as a tech demo, but hey, Nintendo got to make that money. It's called the Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour. That's the official name of that game, where you get to create your character and walk around on the Switch virtually. I think that game should be free. I don't think that you should charge for that, but hey, it's Nintendo. Now, this is the next part that I think Nintendo, and again, guys, Nintendo has to make their money. You need a micro SD Express SD card. So you can't go for the regular Samsung 256 gigabyte and thinking that the Switch 2 will take it. You need to make sure that you buy the SanDisk Micro SD Express SD card for more storage. I'm sure that'll be more accessible if you need additional storage. That's something that I would do, because as these games get more AAA for Switch 2 and we're getting bigger titles, because we see it on PlayStation 4, as these games become more AAA title, the games will become bigger. The game files will become bigger. So, causing you to need a little bit more storage. So, that's just something to look at. They made sure in this press conference, the micro SD Express card, the regular one, will not work. I get it from a technical X point. I get it. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of companies that are doing this. Of course, they announced the Switch 2 Pro controller with now the C button. That's the game chat button. So that's pretty cool. That I kind of saw that coming when it comes down to it. Moving on to the press conference, and I'm skipping around here too. Here is the part Here's the part where I dock some points. And that's why I gave this press conference a 6 out of 10. Because we didn't see, after Mario Kart World got announced and they talked about it, I understand from a publisher standpoint that publishers have to push their games out. But I wasn't a big fan in this press conference when it comes to a lot of the ports. Because you had Mario Party Jamboree TV. You had Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, and Breath of the Wild Nintendo Switch versions. You've had a lot of these ports with some new stuff, right? You know, you got get some controls with the mouse, and you know it's better. This frame rate's better. Like Legend of Zelda, for example, you're gonna have it to where, hey, you know, this game will be better because it's better graphics, but then you still gotta pay extra. My fear, and it's the same thing with these games that I already bought. So, Tears of the Kingdom I already bought for OLED. Mario Party Jamboree I already have. They announced Kirby and the Forgotten Land Nintendo Switch 2 edition with a new world, right? They have the games like that I already bought. I don't see myself buying again for Switch 2. Because being Nintendo being Nintendo, I honestly do think they're going to have it to where these games are going to cost us $60 again. So why would I go in and buy, let's say for an example, Tears of the Kingdom that cost me $70? Why would I buy that again? Because I want better frame rate. And it's no knock on the frame rate and the performance mode of Switch 2. That's not what I'm saying. I don't see myself buying the same game for the same price because it's on a better system. Some people are going to do that. But if you are on the mindset of wanting to save a little bang for your buck, and I do mean save your bang of the buck, because the Switch 2, with the bundle of Mario Kart World, we're looking at $500. They announced it. It's $499. And without the bundle, it's $449. So $450 plus tax. Which I knew that it was going to be because in podcast I said either 450 or 500. I knew it was going to be within that price, reasonably priced, because hey, the tariffs coming from Japan, a lot of different things are changing within the gaming community. Of course, they're going to upsell the console. It's $500. I'll spend that. Games like that, I just wouldn't buy. I tell you one game that I will buy for the Nintendo Switch Edition because we haven't played it yet because it's not out yet is Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. Metroid Prime 4 Beyond is the newest Metroid game that's been announced. No one can play it yet because it's not out yet. That will be the only game that I buy from the Nintendo Switch Edition type games because it's new. Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild, Kirby and Forgotten Land, Mario Party Jamboree. I don't see myself buying those games again for the Nintendo Switch editions because it's not worth it when I could just play it in my OLED and save money. That's really the only game. Pokemon Legends Z, the Nintendo Switch Edition. That might be. Now, I'm not a huge Pokemon fan, but I got friends who are in the Pokemon realm. They're going to buy those type of games because that game is new. We haven't seen that really that much. So it just makes sense. So, and I say buy again because these games that you already have, you can get the upgrade pack. So I hope that they don't upsell the upgrade pack. Like, I wouldn't want to say upgrade this for $60. Is that you're not saving money. Now, if the upgrade pack of these games that you already have is $10, sure, it might be worth it to some people. I just wouldn't do it because I would just puck out my OLED and play it, right? And you might have it to where you can port, because you can port these type of original games to the Switch 2. It's backwards compatibility. So again, you really got to think about, is the $10 worth it to upgrade because you want the graphics, or do you want to play it on your Switch 2 but it's a Switch 1 title and you can just convert it over, transfer your data. So cool concept. You just got to understand what's worth it. I think it really wouldn't be that worth it to me. I'm just waiting for the next generation titles. Back to what I was saying. It is difficult for towards the midpoint, towards the end of this press conference. We've got a lot of ports. It's the same thing I just was saying. There's Elden Ring, there's Hitman, there's Street Fighter 6. There are other games, Hogwarts Legacy. Again, I will say this: Elden Ring, Hogwarts Legacy, Street Fighter 6, Hitman. These games are already on PlayStation 5. So when I was watching this press conference, I was a bit disappointed towards the midpoint, towards the end, because it's a lot of ports for games I already have. So my worry is, hey, Switch 2 is out and you can buy Hogwarts Legacy on Switch 2, but you're paying $60. Not saying that's going to be the pricing. I don't know what the pricing is. We don't know what the pricing really is for these ports, but companies do that to make every dollar stretch, to make everybody buy their game. And this Hogwarts Legacy, for an example, that is a 2022 game. If I'm correct, 22, 23, one of them years. It's a few years older now. And yes, I still play Hogwarts Legacy. I have fun playing it. I play it on my PlayStation 5. So, again, I necessarily wouldn't want to buy this game. Not to say it's a bad game, for an example, Hogwarts Legacy, because it's a great game. I don't think I would buy this for Switch because I have it on PS5. It's the same thing. I think you might want to buy it because it's portable, maybe, sure. But if they are marketing this game for $60, then this may not be worth it if I got it for PlayStation 5. Tony Hawk, they had the same concept. IOI, that's the producer, guys, that does Hitman. Again, same concept. I have that for PlayStation 5. I probably won't pick this up for Switch 2 because I already played it. I know what to expect. It's the same thing. Look, for me to play it portable, sure. But I already have it. I already know what to expect. But IOI, they did something. They teased that they're going to be making a James Bond game. Really, really dope. They're calling it Project 007. I wonder, is this a Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive? Or they just use the Nintendo Switch 2 to just say, hey, we're working on a James Bond game. I would say IOI. They're good at the Hitman. The Hitman games were phenomenal. So I think this is going to be baller too. I can't wait to see the title. Can't wait to see the gameplay of this because I think it's going to be really cool. Maybe they might have it to where they have the Hitman elements, but you're playing James Bond. That's going to be dope. I wonder, again, will this be a Nintendo Switch exclusive? I think they shouldn't. I mean, Switch 2 would be cool, but hey, they might be working on a PlayStation 5 port for this one. So I think it's cool. It's about time. I think IOI Publishing, they're really the only company that I think could really nail a baller James Bond game. So we wait to see what that looks like. But then as we're going forward, there's a lot of remasters, there's a lot of ports. Yakuza 0 Director's Cut is getting switched to. Again, I played that game years ago, so I'm not interested. You've got a new Zelda Hyrule type game. So if you guys remember Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, I haven't played that game yet. A lot of people say that game was pretty good. A lot of people say that it was pretty bad. So now you got Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment, from the Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom Breath of the Wild type game for Zelda. You're playing Zelda, but then it's a Warriors game. Warriors games, they're good, but it can become repetitive. I played Fire Emblem Warriors, and the game was good. It's very very competitive. It's very very like, it's just like you're doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. And then you tend to kind of get a little bit bored. So I hope that we don't get bored with this one again. I haven't played Age of Calamity. Maybe that'd be something I pick up and try, because I just haven't played those type of the Hyrule Warrior games. But you got Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment coming this winter. So maybe that might be something that we're doing. Finally, this is why I gave the Nintendo Switch the Direct the 6.10. So we finally will have Nintendo GameCube for online. And I gotta say, I'm here for it. It's about time. We knew that was coming. We knew that Switch 1 and OLED doesn't have the power capacity for Nintendo games to be online for those systems. But obviously with Switch 2 being the better hardware, the bigger hardware that's coming out, we knew Nintendo GameCube ports were going to happen on there. But Nintendo, you only announced 3 games? So you've got Legend of Zelda, The Wind Waker. Played it when I was a kid. Can't wait to play it again because it's part of my childhood. Cool. We like, all right, Wind Waker. They didn't remaster it. You know, why buy a remastered copy when you just do the online? Okay, cool. We get it. Awesome concept. Soul Calibur 2 with the Link Edition. Okay, cool. I played Soul Calibur 2 when I was a kid too. Very, very fun. Very, very awesome. Next game was F-Zero GX. Okay, dope. F-Zero GX was very, very fun to play as a kid. So obviously I'm pumped for that. Okay, that's nice. Alternative to the Mario Kart game. Something a little different. Fast paced. You're playing Captain Fountain. That's an IP there. Okay, cool. But that was it. Now, granted, we have more games here. Super Mario Sunshine, Fire Emblem, Path of Radiance, Pokemon XD, Super Mario Strikers. I think my little brother's going to love that. Chibi Robot. Okay, cool. Luigi's Mansion 1. That's OG. Pokemon Colosseum. Okay, cool. But that's it. Where the Sonic games at? Sonic Adventure 2 Battle? Sonic Heroes? Hell, give us Sonic Riders. Where are the Sonic games? Because I'm a Sonic fan, y'all. I do hope that they add more to it because there's a lot of bangers. Let's get a Billy Hatcher in that equation, right? Let's get more Mario, right? Where's Melee at? Mario Kart Double Dash? And probably not Mario Kart Double Dash. I mean, probably not because they want you to play Mario Kart World. So I get why maybe Mario Kart Double Dash is not on this list because they want you to play the newest Mario game, right? That part I understand. But where is more of the GameCube games, right? Because you got the capacity to do it. You're just not giving us a whole lot, in my opinion. And maybe these games like Mario Sunshine and all these games I just mentioned, maybe they're going to get released on day one as the Nintendo Switch gets launched. Okay, cool. As we fast forward, again, the remaining of it was a lot of game ports. That Borderlands 4 is coming to Switch 2. I thought I was going to get that game for PlayStation 5. You got Civilization 7. Okay, that's a port. 2K, WWE 2K, and NBA 2K is coming to Switch. Okay, we already got it, but cool. It's a lot of ports. It's a lot of ports that are coming through. Cyberpunk is coming to Switch 2. Okay, I already played it. When the Square Enix logo loaded up on the screen, I said, okay, Final Fantasy, long of a hope, Final Fantasy 7. Played the game years ago. Great game. No knock on those games because I have it, but I have it for PlayStation 5. So why would I go and buy it again? Again, it's a lot of ports that are coming over that just really didn't interest me that much. You've got a lot of games from indie companies that I'm just like, okay, I saw it, but I won't buy it. You got this weird From Software game. Again, From Software, they're a great company. I'm not really big into From Software. I'm not knocking on their gaming development. It's just not my speed. And I was just kind of tending down. I was just kind of like, okay, I'm losing track of this. Okay, this is what they got. Okay. I was hoping for more, and then we're going through the press conference as we fast forward. Now, we saw Kirby start, and we saw Kirby finessing with the Kirby star. I thought this was going to be a new Smash game. I thought they were going to tease us with a new Smash game. I thought, oh boy howdy, we got a new Smash game coming out. Nope, they lied. It is Kirby Air Riders. I guess they kind of stole that from Sonic with Sonic Riders. You got Kirby Air Riders, again, Kirby and his clones and his friends. You're riding these different courses and you're racing through for the next Kirby ride game. Cool concept. Awesome. I mean, it looks good. Probably going to be $70 when it come out. And then I was let down. We didn't get too many Nintendo exclusives. We didn't get an announcement for 3D Mario. We didn't get an announcement for a new Smash. We didn't get an announcement for a new Star Fox game. It is not to say that we won't never get those games for Switch 2. I really do think we will get those games for Switch 2. But I was hoping that we would get those out the gate. With Nintendo announcing Switch 2, I kind of wish they would have announced more of their IP. And towards after Sonic Air Riders, I was like, okay, well, hey, they gave us a lot of appetizers, the same stuff that we kind of already knew about. A lot of ports that I'm not interested because I don't want to rebuy these games again. And then they gave us one last look. And when I first saw this, I was about to get upset because I'm like, what is this third party looking? I prejudged it before we saw it. And there's one world that looked like Dragon Ball Z. So I'm like, oh, are we about to get a Dragon Ball Z game from Nintendo? But then we saw it being a third party and it looks great. And then I saw the monkeys in the background, in the background working what looked like a mine. And then I'm like, wait a minute. And then I saw they gave us a glimpse of a wall being punched. And I'm hearing Donkey Kong's voice. And I'm like, oh snap. Did they make a 3D Donkey Kong game? And I psyched myself out. I'm like, I don't think they did that. They playing with our heart. This ain't real. But then you see this monkey in this cap. He comes into frame. Oh snap, y'all. we got a 3D Donkey Kong game. Donkey Kong with the Donkey Kong old school Donkey Kong look. They revamped Donkey Kong first of all. Donkey Kong looks a little different. They took the accolades from the Donkey Kong character in the Super Mario movie. We saw the new Donkey Kong look in Mario Kart World. That's now the official title. And now we got a 3D Donkey Kong game. Old school Donkey Kong walking, doing his thing. Third open world concept, punching the living mess out of stuff. This game is called Donkey Kong Bonanza. Finally, we got a 3D Donkey Kong game. We knew this was coming. We just didn't know when. Donkey Kong looks badass in this game. He's punching through stuff, going through the third world concept. I think you get your Donkey Kong, but it's a totally different story than the rest. I think this is cool. I think this is a very, very good concept. This will be another game that I will be getting for Switch 2. This game does come out in July. I think it's the title release date is July 17th. They had one world in there that had old school hijinks jungle, but more in a 2D, 3D kind of feel to it. And it looks like you're going through the Wild West of Donkey Kong. I'm picking up this vibe where you're going through these mines and you're destroying and taking down but taking down these mines that are controlled by these villains. And it makes sense because it's called Donkey Kong Bonanza. And I got to give a quick shout out to my grandma. God rest her soul. My grandma, she called it watching her picture. She watched the Bonanza Brothers. I think it was called the Bonanza Brothers. And it was a Western. And they had to deal with mines and cowboys and Wild West. And now in this game, it feels like you're going through the Wild West, working in these mines and going through as Donkey Kong. So it makes sense that they call it that. A lot of animations, a lot of character development. Again, they're taking off the old school Donkey Kong, but Donkey Kong within this. This is what Donkey Kong is going to look like for the next few years. I am here for it. I am glad that we got a 3D Donkey Kong game. This game looks hella fun. To play a 3D, and you guys don't say this too, because I love my 3D platformers too. With my 3D platformers, I love. So this really is the icing on the cake. I'm glad they gave us this IP of Donkey Kong. It's about time we got a 3D Donkey Kong type game. He looks badass in this game. This is going to sell, right? It's going to sell really, really good. I do think you're only going to play as Donkey Kong. Now, it would be cool. It would be cool if you get to play with more Donkey Kong characters like Diddy Kong, Dixie Kong, or maybe that's Donkey Kong Bonanza 2, right? In the future, when they make a sequel to this, maybe you can play as more characters, right? They're reviving the Donkey Kong franchise. A lot of my friends in production yesterday said, "What do I want to see from Switch?" I said, "Hey, I want to see a new Donkey Kong game." Long behold, we got one, July, and that's in 3 months. So, very, very cool. To end off our segment here today, I gotta say, I am excited for Switch 2. I'm excited for the Mario Kart game that's releasing day 1. I am excited for the Donkey Kong game that's releasing in July. Had we seen more Nintendo IPs? Sure. That's why a lot of people got to give it a 6, because as a Nintendo fan, I could care less about the ports. The ports are important. Not saying that they're not important, but I could care less about the third-party ports. I care more about the first-party trademark IP. Right? And it's not to say that we won't get a 3D Mario game. Never say never in a Star Fox game. Right? Never say never in the next Smash Brothers game. Would I have loved to see those IPs today? Sure. Even if for Smash Brothers, for an example, if they teased us and say, hey, we are working on a Smash game coming out 2026, sure, okay, you got my interest. But it's not to say that I won't pre-order this console. It's not to say that I won't get this console, because I will. I look forward to the next Mario Kart game. I look forward to the next Donkey Kong game for sure. I think when I get this console, the Switch 2, I'm just really catering towards the first party ports, the like Mario Kart 9 and Donkey Kong. I care about their IP more than I do the ports. Have the ports that they announced, I already have. So I won't rebuy the ports again unless it's for a cheap cost. I won't rebuy the ports again because that's a lot of money. Congratulations to Nintendo. They got something there. I'm stoked. I'm happy about it. I'm very excited to see them doing their thing. It's very awesome to see them with the Switch 2, and I think a lot of people are pumped for it. Comment below here on the video if you guys are pumped about Switch 2. We like to hear it. That's going to wrap it up here in our segment on One Off with K.L.P. We hope that you like this segment, a part with the LTN News Network. We'll be back here in the studio with more content to give you guys for that as well. Comment below, what do you guys think about the Switch Direct video that came out this morning? Did you enjoy it? Did you like it? We want to hear from our fan engagement as well. We'll see you guys in next week's episode of One Off with K.L.P. I've been your host, K.L.P. Good evening. We'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.